Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so tonight, well, last week, for those that was on our Wednesday notary wisdom session, we covered fees, was part of the topic of discussion from our manual directly. As we're getting through for part one of the notaries or traditional notaries, so that you can actually understand exactly what we are expected to do at all times. So it's going to be very, very important. Again, everyone, if you can mute yourselves, that would be great. So in that, I still have seen where some people are still putting the wrong information out there. And at the end of the day, it's important for everyone to understand we have to follow statutes when it comes to the fees that we charge. When it comes to how we advertise it, everyone should have the same information. When we're working with the general public, it's going to be the same fee. All right. If they're the signer paying us, then we need to know exactly how to properly disclose that information, be very transparent. Everyone should know that $10 per signature is what we are able to receive. We cannot charge more than that, okay, for a traditional notarial act. We can charge for travel if and only if we are going out to them and if it's actually discussed ahead of time with an agreement, and it has to be in writing. The writing could be in a text message, it can be an email. If you're actually face to face with someone, it can be written on a note card or paper to say this is the amount of what the travel will be, them agreeing to that. And again, now it's in writing. So again, those are the provisions of what we can charge, how we can charge them in that way. Beyond that, there's no such thing as these other fees that I'm constantly hearing about. I know that you may be around other notaries in other states when you're talking or communicating in different groups. Please be very mindful of the fact that their laws are different than North Carolina. And if you're commissioned here in North Carolina, that is the only law you should be actually paying attention to. Other things that these notaries are saying sounds really, really good, but there's probably a lot of the information that's also in their laws that they don't even know. And it's not our responsibility to actually govern that for them. We should actually, again, mind the business that pays us, that governs us here in the state of North Carolina. All right. So, again, is your North Carolina Notary LLC secretly illegal? Some people have formed a business and they think that that may be a way around some things as a notary. And so I'm here to help you understand what the law says so you can be compliant. And if you have actually been working outside of what the law says, now is the time for you to actually get your stuff together before you're reported and lose your commission. So this is the reason why it's important for you to really understand the law and make sure that you're abiding by exactly what the law says. So North Carolina Notary Compliance exposing the administrative booking and convenience fee loophole. Because people always think there's a loophole, and there's usually is somewhere. So in this um, case scenario, okay, Sarah Jenkins, she's it's a deep dive into how an administrative workaround violates North Carolina General Statutes and threatens commissions. All right, so Sarah Jenkins will be the topic of discussion on this particular example. So Sarah's booking fee scheme. Her company, Swift Sign Booking LLC, and this is all fictitious, okay? Sarah Jenkins created a corporate entity named Swift Sign Booking Solutions LLC to act as her booking administrator. To maximize profits, the LLC charges clients a $75 scheduling fee, while claiming Sarah only charges the legal $10 notary fee. This structural division attempts to bypass North Carolina notary fee laws. So when it comes to false business Logic versus the law. Sarah faulty logic is I am fully compliant because my LLC is a separate corporate entity charging administrative fees as a human notary public. I only pocket the statutory $10 fee. The corporate veil shields my notary commission. This is not true. So when it comes to North Carolina law, the general statutes 10B20 C6, and I want you to turn to page 161 in your actual manual because it's going to be very important for you to know exactly what the law says beyond me going over this with you. So that again, when it comes to highlighting, tabbing your book, do all the things that's going to help you find that information when you come across other notaries that you will find illegally charging fees, okay, that's beyond statutory. So you want to make sure that when you come to them in concern and trying to help them make it right, you have factual information to support what you say to them, all right? Because again, I can debate with someone when it comes to my opinion all day long. But when it comes to what's factually written, then there's no debate. We have to abide by what they are, what the rules say, or we can, again, deal with the consequences of our actions when we're doing something wrong. So a notary public is prohibited from receiving directly or indirectly any commission, fee, advantage, or consideration exceeding statutory bounds. So when you read on page 161, 10B20C6, it specifically says the notary will receive directly from a transaction connected with the notarial act any commission, fee, advantage, right, title, interest, cash, property, or other consideration exceeding in value the fee specified in General Statutes 10B31, other than fees or other consideration paid for services rendered by a licensed attorney, a licensed real estate broker or salesperson, a motor vehicle dealer, or a banker. Those are the only four exceptions when fees may be more than what our statutory limit. As a notary, only charging for the notarial fees. So again, it's important for you to understand why you cannot have a business, as an example, charging your administrative fees, your convenience fees, your urgent fee. All of these other fees that I keep on hearing about, once again, don't exist when it comes to you being a notary public and how you conduct your business. Conflict of interest happens very easily working with family, working with friends, and working in your own business entity. So you really do want to understand law and business so that you do not put yourself in a position of breaking the law because you do not understand what you need to know when you're actually, again, a public official for the state. So this is something, again, you want to make sure you take in consideration when you form a business, if you choose to do so, why it doesn't matter if you have a corporation or you're working independently as just your name. So again, those things do matter. The North Carolina fee reality. Understanding the absolute limits established by North Carolina General Statutes 10B31. So when it comes to maximum fees under this general statute, you have your acknowledgments and jurats. So when it comes to maximum paper limits, meaning that we are doing traditional notary from paper to pen, it's $10 per signature. For verifications or proofs, $10. Verbal oaths or affirmations, also $10. And remote electronic notarization, we of course are still waiting for that. But once we move into that part of being able to notarize remotely, then it's going to look a little different. Okay. So when it comes to the maximum electronic limit, so for those that are e-notaries, we're still waiting for the updated list for all of the providers or technology providers that we can actually work through to notarize in person electronically for someone. Okay, so unlike paper to pen, it's just going to be like a tablet that has a stylus, for example. So when it comes to their fees, we can charge up to $15 for acknowledgments and direct, verification of proofs, and verbal oaths and affirmations. When we are able to do remote notarizations, we will be able to charge up to $25 per signature. All right. So when it comes to an administrative workaround, it's prohibited in all of those capacities. So again, those are the statutes of limitations of what we can charge, and that's what we need to also always make sure we're being compliant about. So again, these notaries that are getting reported every day because we have several notaries that's actually looking through everybody's websites that actually they can get access to, and they're reporting malicious intent when it comes to these feeds. So this is why it's important for you to understand if you are guilty of doing this, you can go ahead and update your website so it can be compliant with what the law says. We did not, we should not have gotten into becoming a notary public for the sole fact of making money to live off of others in that capacity. This is not what this job is for. Our job is to really protect the public from forgery or fraud. It is a voluntary position that we actually have decided to be sworn under oath to abide by the law. And when we see that there are opportunities where we can make income, again, the general statutes don't stop us from doing that, but it gives us a limit to how much we can charge. Now, you can do so many other things with your commission as a notary public because of what that position holds, that we don't have to notarize documents when we're actually working in other capacities, but people are hiring us as a contractor just because of the merit of being a notary public. That is powerful. And those are the things that you want to take away from how I can actually make additional streams of income, because you can, and you can do very, very well with it. But again, I always believe you have to be in alignment, okay? From your spirit to what's happening in the real world, you have to make sure that you're doing things the right way, and you'll be okay. But again, you gotta have to work for it, okay? Because it's not gonna come easily. And others may make it seem like it's very, very easy, and they have been able to achieve such a great financial support system in what they currently have, but they have not shared with you the backstory. Okay. And there is a backstory to everybody's success that doesn't look as beautiful as it appears when it comes to the outcome. All right. So these are three fatal legal violations that I want you to pay attention to. So we're going to go over one, the LLC fallacy, two, the indirect benefits, and three, forbidden labeling. So when it comes to number one, the LLC fallacy, an LLC does not modify public office status or statutes. Because you are the commission holder, you cannot funnel inflated charges through a private entity. Two, indirect benefits. Retaining LLC earnings sourced from booking fees is a statutory violation. General Statutes 10B20C6 that I've already covered bans indirect profits. And then number three, forbidden labeling. Creating custom names like booking rates, admin fees, or handling premiums to charge extra for general work is explicitly illegal. Illegal, meaning that you can actually not just get your commission revoked, you can actually have penalties and could go to jail. So, again, this is very serious. You want to make sure you understand how to position yourself. And again, what is the significance of you being a notary public? Always remember why notaries are needed, because we're needed positions, not a wanted one. Okay, for those that are actually coming to us for their signatures to be notarized. So again, this is not a glorified business. It isn't. It's one of those things that is a necessity for people to make sure they can take care of their affairs, and it can be taken seriously legally when it comes to what their wants are. So when it comes to the only legal travel fee, Right now, it's per the IRS standard business mileage, which is 0.725 cents. Okay, so 72 and a half cents per mile and round trip. Um, Again, this took place January the 1st, and January the 1st of 2027 may be the next bump up. It's usually around the first of the year, unless there's a change with the IRS because of gas pricing, that they may actually change it throughout the year, okay, for a second time. And that happened before back in 2022. So, again, with the way things are now, who knows? So when it comes to the federal travel mileage rules, under North Carolina law, mobile travel is the only auxiliary fee you may charge. It must be negotiated and agreed upon by the principal in writing prior to travel. I gave you the details earlier. So again, you want to make sure you're following that information straight to those details so you would not have to worry about that being an issue of being out of compliance. So the public officer mandate. A notary public is a public officer of the state of North Carolina and shall act in full and strict compliance with this chapter. This is from North Carolina General Statutes 10B 313. So Sarah's overcharges versus legal limit. So Sarah's Swift sign model is $85 total cost based on how she's presenting her fees. When it comes to legal, RON maximum, which is RAN for us in North Carolina, is $25, or it will be, I should say. For the electronic notary for in person is going to be $15. And then when it comes to traditional paper to pen, is 10. So by implementing an administrative booking upcharge, Sarah inflates a standard $10 notarization by 750%, triggering severe administrative violations. And again, I've seen this nationwide. I've seen this here on the local state level. And again, when I'm able to point these concerns out and issues with notaries, I actually, again, try to contact them directly, let them know, hey, I've noticed that you have these fees. Are you actually advertising to the general public, or are you advertising these fees to a business? Because it is a difference. If you're doing business to business, that's a negotiated rate because they're not the principal signer when it comes to getting documents notarized. Most times, these third parties, when I'm talking about business to business, will hire you as a contractor and pay you directly when you actually do work for their client, that you're actually notarizing their signature and they're not giving you any payment, okay? Because they paid the attorney, they paid the lender for the services that's been rendered, that notarial services are included in that for them. So in that case, you can again negotiate your rates only to a business that is hiring you to actually assist in notarizing a signature for their client. Okay, so again, there's several different positions that we can hold to actually do that. When it comes to other work, we can actually do with a third party. But again, you want to make sure, based on the coverage of fees for, again, staying compliant, that we understand who is paying us when it comes to the fees that we're charging. So when it comes to administrative penalties, official Secretary of State warnings, minor or unintentional first time fee overages can result in an official written reprimand logged into your state record. So again, that's going to be like a pink slip, all right? If you're working like a W-2, they're giving you a warning, hey, you cannot continue to do this because this is just a warning, but it's going to be severe where you may lose your job. Then the second, suspension of commission. Ongoing illegal billing practices or deliberate use of scheduling workarounds lead to active immediate suspensions. All right, so you can get your commission suspended, different than revoking. And again, it is a difference, but it still stings. And it's a ding against your record as a notary public. All right. And so then you have the more permanence of consequences, and that's revocation. So, operating a deceptive corporate markup structure constitutes direct official misconduct, resulting in a mandatory permanent revocation of your notary public status. So, again, they don't play about this, and this is something that you should not play about either, okay? Because when it comes to what you want to actually make sure you're doing exactly what the law says we can and avoid doing the things it says cannot. Okay. So that way, again, you can stay compliant. So you want to, again, keep your commission safe. Do not compromise your status as a public officer, for an illegal LLC scheme. Know the rules and stay safe. So you can search the North Carolina Notary Public section for official manuals, compliance hotline. You can call the Secretary of State directly at this number, and ask other questions. But again, everything's in our manual. So I do encourage you to make sure you're taking the time to actually go back to your manual so you can ensure that you are not breaking any of the laws. All right. I've got to make sure I'm doing one thing. So this coming month, July, which is tomorrow, I cannot believe we're already halfway through the year, literally. So July 24th and 25th, which is a Friday and Saturday, I will be in Greensboro. This will be our third meeting in Greensboro, technically second, because the beginning of the year, the snow intervened. But it's going to be, again, 2 days of our Notary Basics Accelerated Workshop where you will have your notary document Bible that has 16 plus documents that you will be able to actually notarize hands on with your notary partner. So it's a program that I created several years ago and have improved and improved over the years. And now you actually have a 200-page manuscript with these documents as well as statutes, so you'll know exactly where the information is found. So again, it's very well used if you again take the time to read it, to apply the information, and this is something you can create your actual content for your social media. So it gives you a lot of tools that helps you be successful if you use them. August the 4th through the 5th, we will be doing our Tuesday, Wednesday half day notary signing agent training. Again, that's through Carteret Community College. I am the trainer. They're using my program, or excuse me, they're using my curriculum. And I've been working with Carteret Community College since 2024. And since then, I've had other colleges reach out to me. But right now, they're my designated school that I teach through, and they're the only ones right now in the state of North Carolina that is actually offering the signing agent class to notaries, because a lot of notaries are asking their instructors how to actually become a signing agent. So again, I teach this. I believe in just making sure you understand what you're going to get yourself into so you can be well prepared of making a good decision to move forward or not. Okay, because there's a lot more responsibilities involved when you want to take on more responsibilities to earn more money. Okay. And then we'll be going in Morehead City on August. No, I'm sorry, we'll be doing the online training for the 2 day Notary Basics on Friday and Saturday of August the 21st and 22nd. So again, July we have it in person, and then we're going online in August. But in September, we'll be in person in Morehead City. So for those that are in the Morehead City area, please do look to go ahead and book your place. I only usually have 10 students because I like to make sure I can give my time and attention in an intimate section, or in an intimate position where I'm training and not feeling as if though everyone's not getting a lot of their questions answered. The bigger the rooms, when it comes to more people, less time that I have to be able to go over more detail because there's going to be more questions. So again, I don't mind actually keeping my classes intimate, but I believe in helping to show up in spaces where it may be a challenge for you to come to Charlotte. All right. So if you think, okay, well, I will love for you to come here, make it make sense for me to actually come where there's going to be a group of notaries, at least 10, and I'll make it work. But right now, Morehead City is the next location outside of Greensboro for this year. And then I will also be going to Charlotte will be the last place for the year in December. So again, I'm coming right back home because Greensboro is my anchor for the year. So I've scheduled for um, trainings there. But again, if you are able to actually visit, that's great. And you will have a lot to take away. And again, make it a true investment where you're going to get a return on your investment because you got the tools to do so. So again, I'm looking forward to actually meeting all of those that I have not seen before and then actually seeing those again that I've already met and just having that connection. So if you are watching the replay, please subscribe, like, and share this with fellow notaries. And I thank you again for your support. And is there any other questions before we actually leave for tonight?